did not heed their words and left Uthman and the Muslims to themselves so that Muslims may themselves judge their actions. The reason for the restlessness and revolt of the Muslims was that the governors appointed by Uthman were changing the ways of the Holy Prophet. Uthman recalled to Medina a person who had been expelled by the Holy Prophet. 25. Uthman used monies from the public treasury for largesse on his relatives. He had also allocated large amounts from the public treasury to himself. He exiled the distinguished companion of the Prophet, Abu Dar. He thrashed, with his stick, Abdullah ibn Masud 26, who was a righteous companion. He cancelled divine commands and did not punish Ubaydullah ibn Umar, who murdered a Muslim man named Hurmuzan. Such acts of Uthman caused the public to revolt against him. 27. After the assassination of Uthman, people gathered around Imam Ali. It is mentioned in Naj al-Balagha that the rush of the public terrified me. They were coming from all sides and Hassan and Hussein were almost trampled upon, and both the ends of my cloak were torn. They were shouting, "Only Ali is fit for caliphate." Imam Ali told them, "Leave me alone and make someone else the caliph." They replied, "We shall not accept anyone else." In short, they paid allegiance to Imam Ali, and thus placed him into a new difficulty. Uthman had left behind many problems for the new government. He had appointed incapable governors who treated forbidden things as lawful. Uthman's tax officers sucked people's blood and misappropriated their property in every part of the country. The behavior of Uthman's tax collectors, 28, and his preferential treatment of friends and relatives caused the rebels to entertain desire for rulership. As opposed to this thinking, some envious and inimical individuals were keen to take revenge and to retaliate. What could Imam Ali have done in such situations? Imam Ali could not lend support to the unjust and corrupt persons. He could not accept bribes from incompetent persons and appoint them to important positions. When he began to clean up the administration, some selfish individuals pressured him to retain them in their respective positions or extend their service. When they saw the reality that Imam Ali was not acting according to their dictates, they disassociated themselves from his government and joined Aisha. This led to the Battle of the Camel. Some sycophants who were opposed to truth and justice gathered around Aisha. They staged an uprising in association with Talha 29, Zubair 30 and Bani Umayyah. When Uthman was being besieged in his palace, Imam Ali, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein were the ones who defended him, whereas Aisha, Talha and Zubair instigated the people to finish him. However, when Uthman was killed, these same individuals demanded retaliation for Uthman's blood. Imam Ali, in the battles of the Camel and Siffin. Regarding the people of Jamal, Imam Ali faced two difficulties. 1. If he remained quiet and allowed the rebels a free hand, it would have laid a wrong example and they would have made life miserable for the nation. 2. If he fought them, it would lead to bloodshed. To solve these two difficulties, he resorted to giving counsel and advice. He requested Aisha to return to her house. He also advised those who had broken the oath of allegiance to remain on the covenant. However, his recommendations did not have any positive effect. So, he was obliged to subdue the rebels and remove the mischief. Eventually the battle took place, resulting in defeat of the rebels. However, Imam Ali's difficulties did not end with this battle. Muawiyah, son of Hind, was a sworn enemy of Allah, his messenger, Imam Ali, and the Muslims. The Holy Prophet had freed Muawiyah, along with his father, on the day of the conquest of Mecca. Muawiyah had not helped Uthman in any way, but when he came to know that Imam Ali had dismissed him from the governorship of Syria, he rose against the latter on the pretext of avenging Uthman's murder. In the Battle of Siffin, when he was on the verge of defeat, he sought the advice of Amr ibn Az, who told him to ask the ignorant people around him to raise the Quran on their spears and say, "This will judge between you and me." This deception created discord in the army of Imam Ali. They told Imam Ali to accept Muawiyah's proposal. The Imam tried by all means to explain to the people of Iraq that it was only a deception and that they must take the fighting to its logical end. Though they did not have anything to do with Quran or the Sharia of the Prophet, they did not obey him. One of them said to the other, "If Ali does not submit to the Quran, we shall kill him like Uthman or hand him over to Muawiyah to treat him as he likes. Imam Ali realized that if he continued fighting, he himself and his sons would be killed, and the progeny of the Holy Prophet would become extinct. So, he accepted the proposal for arbitration. All the proceedings took place at Domat ul-Jundal. Imam Ali decided to select Malik al-Ashtar or Ibn Abbas as his representative to forestall the deceit of Amr ibn As. Again, there was discord in his army. They said, "You will have to nominate Abu Musa Ash'ari as your representative." Imam Ali was compelled to agree in the face of their persistence, as a result of which the arbitration ended in favor of Muawiyah. When Imam Ali's army was defeated on account of their disobedience to Imam Ali, and the judgment was against them, they said to Imam Ali, "You should not have agreed with us in our mistake." So, they rebelled against Imam Ali, and thus the Khawarij group was born. What the Khawarij said. The Khawarij said very strange things. Imam Ali gave them proper advice and he was not prepared to nominate Abu Musa Ash'ari as his representative, but they did not accept what he said. And when he appointed Abu Musa as his representative and the decision went against him, the Khawarij said, "You must confess that you have ceased to be a Muslim, or we shall kill you." It was because he had accepted their demand and appointed Abu Musa as his representative that the outcome went against them. Now when he had accepted their demands, they still wanted to fight against him and kill him. Even if he had not accepted their demands and not nominated Abu Musa, they would still have fought against him. Would it not have been a shameful thing that after years of having fought for the advancement of Islam, Imam Ali should have declared that he had become an infidel, while he is the pivot of religion, a personification of faith and a perfect specimen of truth? In the words of the Urdu poet, Ghalib, expression of divine bounties, the beloved of the last prophet, Qibla of the progeny of the prophet, Kaaba of the invention of certainty. Imam Ali's right was usurped but he remained patient. They made him waver between fighting and allegiance, but he did not mention it to them. In the Shura committee, he was placed at par with unworthy people, but he ignored the matter. And when he remained patient with the attitude of Khawarij, they took up arms against him. I don't think that any of the prophets and saints of Allah had faced so many difficulties and problems as Imam Ali had. I swear by God, that, in a way, Karbala is not as tragic as Nahrawan. In Karbala, Imam Hussein fought against his enemy whereas Imam Ali had to fight against those who had been in his army till the previous day. These people were those on whose foreheads were signs of excessive prostrations, and who fasted during daytime and offered midnight prayers and recited the Quran. But they considered shedding Imam Ali's blood lawful and were fighting against Allah and His Prophet. 31. Doubtlessly, difficulties experienced by Imam Ali were due to the Quraysh's lack of regard for one of their own sons. They had joined hands to trample upon his rights and told him in a practical way that either put up patiently or die of grief. Imam Ali continued to remain patient while his heart was consumed by grief, and he was facing a dilemma. 1. Died 786 AH. 2. Died 816 AH. 3. A group of scholastic theologians is called Murji'ah. By the grace of Allah, it has now become extinct. Their belief was that if the faith is perfect, no action has any adverse effect. Actually, there was a political motive for promoting this belief. These people existed during the period of Bani Umayyah and they were supported by the Umayyads. The Murji'ah wanted to legitimize the acts of the Umayyad rulers. I don't say this on my own, it is what history says. They used to say, "Sir, if your faith is all right, deeds are not important. If you like, you can perform good deeds, and if you don't like, you don't have to do anything. Deeds are not at all important." When the Umayyad rule declined, the Abbasids, due to the enmity they bore against the Murji'ah, began to persecute the latter. But the pity is that the Murji'ah thinking has found root in Shia thinking. However, the incident that I will narrate will prove beyond any doubt that the true Shia faith is absolutely against this thinking. Ahmad Amin has quoted a report from Abu al-Faraj Isfahani's Agani in his book, Duha al-Islam. Ahmad Amin is himself opposed to the Shias, but despite that, he has mentioned this narration. A person, whose name he had also mentioned, he used to say that a Shia and a Murji'a were having a debate among themselves regarding their respective beliefs. One used to say that the principles of Murji'a are more correct and the other said that the principles of Shias are truer. The Murji'a was saying that deeds are not important. Faith is of paramount significance, whereas the Shia was saying that deeds are necessary. Just then a singer passed by. I am saying that he was a singer as the narration is from Agani, which means song. The two said, "Let us ask him, because this man looks intelligent." So, they decided to ask him whether the Shias or the Murji'a was right. At last, they went to him and asked what his faith was, and whether the Shias or the Murji'a were right. He replied, "My upper portion is Shia and the lower one is Murji'a," meaning that I am a Shia by faith. But with regard to deeds, I am a Murji'a. Though I believe in the Shia faith, I do not act accordingly. Now, we have to agree that we have become a community that is like the Murji'a in thinking as well as behavior and deeds. It can be said that our religious thinking is dead. And when our thinking has become like Murji'a, our consequences will also be like them. When one thinks that deeds are not important, what will remain of the world? And what of the hereafter? Can we command any respect? Can we remain the foremost? No, never. Our thinking must be reformed because our way of thinking about religion is wrong. I can dare say that except for some secondary matters related to acts of worship, acts and transactions, our thinking is absolutely misplaced. Neither do we mention the right things in religious gatherings and sermons, nor do we write about them in our books and magazines. We also do not think along the right lines. Before we think of converting other people to Islam, we should consider our own position. Before we light the masjid lamps, we should first illuminate our homes. Religion is life, it is movement, it is awakening. But which religion? The religion brought by the Holy Prophet S. At the same time, religion is the opium of the masses. But which religion? The concoction that we have